Imagine it happens at noon on a Tuesday. No warning, no reason. 8 billion people gone in a single instant. Not dead, just removed. The cars they were driving keep moving for a few seconds before drifting into walls. The planes they were flying continue on autopilot until the fuel runs out. The food on their plates stops being eaten mid-bite. The world they built is suddenly empty. And the question that follows is not as simple as it sounds, because what happens next is not silence. It is one of the most extraordinary transformations Earth has ever undergone, playing out in a precise sequence over hours, days, years, and centuries. The collapse begins almost immediately. Within the first few hours, the systems that keep modern civilization running start to fail. Most power grids around the world depend on constant human supervision. Without operators monitoring load and balance, automatic safety systems begin shutting down power plants one by one. Wind turbines keep spinning. Solar panels keep collecting. But the grid itself, the vast network of wires and substations that distributes electricity, requires constant adjustment that nobody is making. Within roughly 24 to 48 hours, most of the world goes dark. The famous photograph of Earth at night, glittering with city lights from space, would slowly black out region by region. In the first week, something strange happens to the animals that depended on us. The roughly 25 billion chickens kept in industrial farms around the world die quickly without food or water. Most cattle and other livestock confined in feedlots meet the same fate. But animals that can break free of their enclosures begin doing something they have not done in generations. They walk out. Domestic dogs, freed from houses by collapsing doors or simply through windows left open, start forming packs within days. Cats, already semi-wild in most of their behavior, transition almost effortlessly back to hunting. Within weeks, what we called pets are simply animals again, surviving or dying based on their ability to adapt. Nuclear power plants present a particular kind of problem. There are over 400 of them operating worldwide, and each one requires constant cooling to prevent the reactor core from overheating. When the external power grid fails, backup diesel generators kick in. Those generators run until they exhaust their fuel supply, typically within a week. After that, the cooling water stops circulating, and the reactors begin to melt down. Within months, dozens of Chernobyl-scale disasters unfold simultaneously across the planet, releasing radiation into the atmosphere and contaminating the surrounding land for centuries. But here is something counterintuitive. The wildlife in those contaminated zones often thrives. We have already seen this at Chernobyl itself, where the exclusion zone abandoned by humans in 1986 is now one of the most biodiverse areas in Europe. Wolves, lynx, bears, and birds returned in numbers not seen for centuries. The lesson is uncomfortable but clear. The radiation damages them. The absence of humans helps them more. Within the first year, the visible signs of decay become dramatic. Roads begin cracking as plant roots push through them. Subway tunnels in cities like New York, normally kept dry by pumps that move millions of gallons of groundwater every day, fill with water within 36 hours of the pump stopping. Wooden buildings rot. Glass shatters from temperature swings. Bridges, once maintained by constant inspection and repair, begin to weaken at their joints. Animals you would not expect become urban dwellers very quickly. Coyotes, already creeping into cities while humans were still present, move boldly into downtowns. Deer wander down Manhattan streets. Bears explore suburban kitchens still stocked with canned food. Within a few years, the largest urban centers begin to look like strange green ruins. Vines climbing up skyscrapers, trees sprouting through broken pavement, raccoons and foxes hunting through what used to be shopping districts. By the end of the first decade, most of what humans built starts to look unmistakably abandoned. Without painting, sealing, and patching, roofs collapse. Without heating, water expanding in pipes during winters, cracks open walls and floors. Without lawn care, golf courses become meadows. Without irrigation, the desert cities of Phoenix and Las Vegas dry out, and the landscape slowly reclaims them. Forests advance into farmland at a measurable pace, roughly half a mile per year in temperate climates. The animals continue to surprise us. House cats, despite being the most successful domesticated predator in human history, do not necessarily flourish. Smaller cats face competition from coyotes, larger wild cats, and birds of prey that no longer have to compete with us. The global population of domestic cats drops by perhaps 90% within decades, though they do not go extinct. Dogs follow a similar pattern. Pack-forming breeds with strong survival instincts thrive. Smaller breeds bred for human companionship struggle and largely vanish. Within 100 years, the transformation is breathtaking. Most wooden structures are gone, collapsed or rotted into the soil. Brick and stone buildings still stand in many cases, but their interiors are filled with debris, animal nests, and the slow advance of vegetation. The famous monuments of human civilization fare differently depending on what they are made of. The pyramids of Giza, having already survived 4,500 years, continue standing essentially unchanged. The Great Wall of China crumbles in sections but remains visible. Mount Rushmore, carved into solid granite, lasts longer than anything else humans ever built. It will still be recognizable in 100,000 years. The atmosphere itself begins to change. With no factories, no cars, no power plants burning fossil fuels, the carbon dioxide that humans pumped into the air for 2 centuries starts to slowly recede. Oceans absorb it. Plants pull it down. Within a few hundred years, atmospheric CO2 returns to roughly pre-industrial levels. Air quality in former cities becomes some of the cleanest on Earth. The sky, no longer washed out by light pollution, fills with stars visible from every continent. Plastic is the great exception to nature's recovery. The bottles, bags, and microplastics humans produced will persist for thousands of years, breaking down into smaller and smaller fragments but never fully disappearing. Future archaeologists, if any ever exist on this planet again, will identify our era by a thin layer of plastic and radioactive isotopes embedded in the geological record. We will have left a permanent mark, even in our absence. After 1,000 years, the cities are mostly gone. New York is a strange, forested island with stone fragments poking through the trees. London is a marsh. Los Angeles has been partially reclaimed by desert. Most evidence that humans existed has been buried, eroded, or consumed by the relentless patience of nature. But the changes we made to the biosphere persist. The species we drove to extinction stay extinct. The animals we introduced to new continents continue spreading. The climate, while recovering, still bears the marks of what we did. Earth heals, but it does not forget. After 10,000 years, almost nothing of the human world remains visible on the surface. A few stone monuments survive. Some deep mines and tunnels still exist. The Voyager spacecraft continue moving through interstellar space, carrying the only easily readable evidence of who we were. On Earth itself, evolution has had time to begin filling the empty ecological niches we left behind. Some animals have grown larger. Some have specialized in new ways. New species are beginning to emerge. The deeper question that haunts this thought experiment is not what happens to the world without us. It is what our absence reveals about our presence. For all of human history, we have measured our importance by the things we built, the cities we raised, the marks we made on the landscape. The disappearance scenario shows that almost everything we built is temporary. The skyscrapers fall. The roads dissolve. The borders we drew on maps mean nothing to the deer and wolves that cross them. Within a geological eye blink, the only evidence that we existed at all is plastic, concrete fragments, and a thin layer of strange isotopes. But something else becomes clear too. The world that emerges in our absence is not better or worse. It is simply different. The forests that grow over our cities are not a moral victory for nature. They are just what happens when the pressure we apply is removed. The animals that thrive are not celebrating our absence. They are just animals doing what animals do when conditions allow. We are not the villains of Earth's story. We are not its heroes either. We are one species among millions, capable of building things no other species has built, capable of damage no other species has caused, capable of leaving and being forgotten just as completely as any creature that ever lived. The empty Earth is not a tragedy. It is not a triumph. It is just what comes next, with or without us, depending only on which way the universe happens to turn.